Good morning. We actually are going to start right on time, 10 o'clock on the dot today, which is unusual. I want to thank all of you for being here on a wonderful, beautiful morning. First time in a week, not raining and not pouring. So I'm so glad to see so many of you here. And I'm delighted that Asia Society Hong Kong is co-presenting this wonderful presentation, panel discussion. And we're going to have I'm going to have an opportunity to welcome our keynote speaker in a little bit. And for those of you, I see some new faces because besides our Asia Society members, there are a lot of you who may not have been here before. So I want to welcome you here. Can I see a show of hand who's never been here before, just out of curiosity? So I need to tell you a little more about Asia Society then. Those of you who have not been here before, you're here in Jockey Club Hall, and we are delighted that the Asia Society here has an opportunity to present programs like this. We do about 200 programs a year, and for members and non-members. And as a part of the Asia Society family, those of you who are not members, if you join, there are programs as well as a wonderful gallery. Most people are here, and they do not go up to our upper side, which is a historical site. We have three Grade 1 historical buildings that we have preserved for the Hong Kong public, and in one of them is a gallery. So currently we have a wonderful exhibition about Asia. So those of you who have an opportunity this morning or later on, come back and enjoy the Asia Society Hong Kong campus, because there's some wonderful programming going on here, and I'm really delighted to see so many new faces here to learn about defining the digital era, China's smart economy. And I feel for topics like this, I always have to apologize because with many of you, and looking at the people in the audience, many of you are quite young, so you kind of grew up with the technology. Some of us did not. And we're still learning. And every opportunity we have to welcome such distinguished panelists and also speaker like Professor Xiang, we say yes, because it's not only learning, but it's really part of technology has become so ubiquitous today. I think the numbers that you've seen, 700 million in China, 700 million people in China have digital devices. I think Professor Cheung is going to give us more interesting statistics information. 700 million. I have to put it into context in terms of, that's 100 times Hong Kong's population. And as a Chinese American, that's twice the population, almost twice the population in the United States. So that kind of gives you a context of what China is doing these days. And I also, before this talk, I looked up some information because I was working in Hong Kong in the 90s. And many of these companies that we're so familiar with, that's so much part of our part of our culture today, only got started not that long ago. I'm going to give you some trivia. Google. I guess Google was only started in 1998, and Yahoo was only around 1994, 95. And here, closer to home in Hong Kong, I looked it up, and we have some representative from Baidu, and they can correct me. Baidu was only incorporated January of 2000. Xiaomi was about 2010. So that just shows you many of these companies really have only been around less than 20 years. And many of them, especially those here in China, in this part of the world, are really moving the dials. Well, actually not just moving the dial, they're setting the benchmark. And so to this morning's talk is going to really address some of these issues. So I want to, again, thank Alex and China Daily for giving us this opportunity to co-host this wonderful program, and we look forward to future cooperation with China Daily in the future, and because we've done a few in the past, and I know we're going to be doing more in the future. So this is really a wonderful opportunity for us, and I want to kind of let you know about the setup. We're going to welcome. I'm going to have an opportunity to introduce Professor Xiang Bing, founding dean and professor of China Business and Globalization at Cheung Graduate School of Business, and he's going to give us a keynote. And then Alex, Senior Advisor, China Daily Asia Pacific, will come up and moderate the panel discussion and thank Professor Xiang. And also, I think Professor Xiang will have to leave after the keynote, but I'm sure Alex will moderate a quick Q&A after the presentation. So really, it is now a great pleasure for me to introduce Professor Xiang. As I mentioned, he is a founding dean and professor of business at China Business and Globalization at Cheung Graduate School of Business. Prior to joining the school, he was professor of accounting at Peking University, Guanghua School of Management, and served on the faculty of Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Dr. Xiang is also a founding faculty member of CEIB, those of you who are familiar with the China-Europe International Business School in Shanghai. And he received his bachelor's degree in engineering from Xi'an Jiao Tong University and PhD in business administration from University of Alberta. My great pleasure to welcome Professor Xiang Bing.
Well, thank you, Alex, for this kind introduction. I would like to thank Alex for inviting me as well. And actually, I've worked with Asia Society and China Daily many times for many years. It's really a great privilege to be here. And some of the best faculty in our school on smart economy got hired away by Jack Ma. So you stuck with me, And then actually, when Jack Ma attended our first CEO program, he hired the only strategy professor I had, Professor Cheung Ming, Z-E-N-G, Cheung Ming, to be his chief strategy officer for Alibaba Group. And then about 2 years ago, he hired another finance professor. It took our school 5 years to develop this professor. He's the top expert on e-finance in China. And Professor Chen Long, C-H-E-N. So Professor Chen Long was appointed as chief strategy officer for the Ant Financial Service Group of Jack Ma. So the two chief strategy officers of his two groups are our ex-faculty. All of a sudden, not only we had to compete with Stanford, with Columbia for faculty, we had to compete with our alumni, Jack Ma, for this faculty. And then, I would like to share with you maybe three things. Number one, and maybe 5 minutes to at least to share with you my view where China's economic success has been coming from, and then some of the factors relating to the issue today. And after that, I will look into the future of China's economy and to explain why I will continue to be optimistic despite all the argument, debates. I will stick to my gun. I will be very optimistic about economic prospect and why. And after that, I'll give you my 2 cents on smart economy, the way I say it, And then China succeeded for many reasons, but there are a few typhoons China has benefited. And in fact, I think Chairman Jing Dong said, when typhoon comes, even pigs can fly. Some of the companies succeeded because of that. Maybe our school also one of the beneficiaries of these typhoons. One major typhoons we had was neoliberalism, started by Ms. Thatcher in 1979, followed by President Reagan. I think Mr. Deng Xiaoping was heavily influenced by all of that. So this is the first typhoon. The second one is new wave of globalization. China joined the WTO at the end of 2001. So, and thirdly, there's digitalization, democratization of information. So that make a country like China, where the imitation strategy has been the dominating one, it takes much less time, much easier to copy. So when you innovate today in the US, we can copy tomorrow. When you have Google, we have Baidu, When you have, when you have Expedia, and we have a Sweetweb, When you have Uber, we have Didi Kuaidi, So it makes this, country to try to catch up. It's much time and cost, I think the 3 typhoons have been essential for China's economic progress. And if you look at 3 major typhoons that changed the global economy in a fundamental way, you can see how much China and US share in common. We have a lot of differences, disparities, ideology, political system, sometimes values as well. But in terms of our embracement of neoliberalism, globalization, digitalization, and financialization of our economy. We're ahead of anybody else. And that's the reason why China and the US stuck with the worst income wealth inequality among any major economies. You might classify China, US as too much capitalism. Some of the European countries, too much socialism. You know, the socialistic bloc have difficulty competing with two major capitalistic blocs, China, US, for example. So this is the past. For the future, why I continue to be optimistic about China's economy? There's a lot of reasons for worries, you know. Municipal government bond problem, mid-income trap, you know, shadow banking problem, the pollution, the income wealth inequality, all of that. All I can give you 30, 40 of the worries, you know. Few reasons for me to be optimistic. Number one, the service sector, only about 50% of China's GDP. That's far below the average of OECD countries, far below that of the US, about 80% or so, or EU and Japan. And secondly, deregulations, the key element of neoliberalism. China has 20 or 30, even 40 sectors remain to be deregulated. So theoretically, we don't need innovations to drive economic growth. For the US, you need the technology, business model innovation. You need the Uber, you need the Tesla. In China, we don't need to do that. You know, you look at oil and gas, financial services, telecom, media, education, you know, sports, and healthcare. Number one sector for the US, 17, 19, 20% of US GDP. For China, about 5% or less. So the Chinese government can grow China's economy even without innovations. Keep on deregulating. At least we have the strategic reserve as options. This is very unique. Historically, at least since 1978, you see, whenever the Chinese government thinks they don't have better options, that's the time for new rounds of deregulations. So when they need this stuff, they think running out of options, and this will coming to be the key play. So this is a key reason. And also for the people my generation, my age group, we have experienced so much, so many systems firsthand. You know, we experienced communism, socialism, feudalism, and capitalism, and many kinds of management from around the globe. As of today, probably China is the only major economy where every model of capitalism or management playing a significant role in China's economy. You see the prominence of American companies, Europeans, the Japanese, the Koreans, Samsung, $30 billion sales in China, $30 billion export from China. You know, for US, it's American companies dominating. For UK, it's the British. For Japan, the Japanese. For China, every model is doing well. Every model is doing well. So we know how to deal with globalization. At least we know how to embrace democratization of information, the digitalization. So if those trends continue to be important, shaping the global economy for years to come, I think China is more ready than many other countries, okay? So there are reasons truly to be positive, despite huge challenges ahead. Because, you know, I have participated in many of the conferences around the globe. When I look back, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whenever you talk about future of China, there's always two camps, you know, coming clubs of China tomorrow. And there's a group like me, you know, I mean, I'm thinking about it. I've been among the optimist group of people about the future of China for the past 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And then I have underestimated the strength of this economy every time. Okay, so for the future, I will stick to my gun. Okay, I'll remain to be optimistic for the future. And thirdly, the digital economy. And as stated by Alice, you know, we have some advantages in embracing this digital economy. We have large size of people using internet, mobile internet. Actually, the government has been promoting Internet Plus for some time, since 2014. And the Prime Minister has been driving this, what we call Shuangchuang, entrepreneurship and innovation for some time. And then, you know, I mean, the government in China, China is very powerful. So they can give a lot of incentives, financial, non-financial, to promote such a sector. And then we do have some really good companies, you know, whether it's BAT, you know, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, Jingdong, even the VIP Shop, some of the recent ones, and many others, you know. And in terms of size of capitalization, the most recent estimate, 25% of the companies listed in Shenzhen and Shanghai, 20% of total capitalization of listed company in these two stock exchanges are internet-related companies. You know, to me, I'm really surprised, you know, how significant it is, you know. And the many other statistics, you know, I will not go over all of that. I think there's a plus side, but there are also some concerns for me, because whenever the new rounds of deregulations or technology disruptions like the digital economy, there's a plenty of positive side to enjoy, to appreciate. At the same time, given the fact China is having such a level of income wealth inequality and diminishes social mobility and sustainability. You go to China, many cities, you see what I mean by sustainability. You smell the urgency of dealing with sustainability. And there's always tendency for Chinese company to cluster, because when internet is hot, digital economy is hot, everybody jump into the bandwagon. And of course, I'm concerned about not only the financialization of China's economy, but also the possibility even over-investment. There's a possibility there. And then the possibility of propertization of China's economy as well. I think China is far ahead of US in that regard, you know. In terms of smart economy, in terms of innovations and new wave entrepreneurship, at least our school, including myself, I've been promoting China. Say, look, we need to go beyond wealth creation. We just cannot innovate. We need to be entrepreneurial just for the sake of creating wealth. That's not enough. I mean, we have so many, our alumni well off already, and we need to have more people. They want to become entrepreneur. They want to innovate for the sake of interest, responsibilities, solving social problems, solving global problems. For China business to be accepted globally, even one day truly respected globally, we have to take on global challenges, not just solving the problem for China. And I think, how do we make sure, as we try, make sure this technology disruptions, including this digitalization, so many smart technology we will have that will fundamentally change the way we live, the way we manufacture things, the way we manage our companies, and we manage our cities, and we connect with each other. All of that maybe will be changed in a fundamental way. One of the reasons last year we have the partnership with Columbia University Faculty of Engineering. One of the things we want to do is we'll try to work together to make sure this technology disruptions will be socially positive. I hope, some days, today's discussions will touch on that issue, not just will create more billionaires. We will. Actually, in China, we have more US dollar billionaires than out of US, according to a study by Mr. Hu Ren, So the Chinese business model, economic model, never short of producing billionaires, okay? Maybe we have enough of those already, okay? But it's how do you making sure this new round of deregulations, this disruption from new technologies will be socially desirable. I think that would be one thing we need to worry about, okay? Given the fact China is already the leading one in Gini coefficient. I think among the major economies, China is number 2, second only to Brazil, okay? Even you go with governmental data. So that's my 2 cents for today. I hope, we have so many experts and business leaders and some from political sector that we can look at the technology, business model innovation, and regulatory side as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Actually, you are not alone. Your staff being taken by Jack Ma.
Yes.
Anyway, I have one question on behalf of the audience. How would you advise business in general or the CEOs here to take advantage of this coming digitization of the Chinese economy, apart from taking away your staff?
Well, I think the new rounds of deregulation, I think it will come. It will come shortly for the reasons of China right now. You can see the slowdown of China's economy, as indicated by 6.9% of GDP growth last year. Because China needs to maintain steady economic growth for generating new jobs, I think government is well informed. They will make wise decisions, So new rounds of deregulation will come. And this will give opportunity not only to the Chinese, but also to the foreign companies as well. But in order to compete in today's China, is very different from 10 or 15, 20 years ago. You look at, for example, Fosun Group, Mr. Guo Guangchang, 15 years ago. He may have difficulty come up with, let's say, 2 or 3 million US dollars a day. Today, he could come up with 10 billion US dollars. What I want to say is the Chinese indigenous company getting so sophisticated today and so much money. And for the past 4 or 5 years, 5, 6 years ago, very few of alumni companies, when they apply for listing, they could claim we had world-class technology. But today, so many. Not only they had the money to develop the new technology themselves, they buy technology, brands, companies from Japan, from Germany. The movie studio from Hollywood as well. So the landscape has been changed the fundamental way. You really have to do your homework. And for many sectors, China's already largest globally. Look at automobile, 23 million units of sales. So you really have to do your homework. Because in China, I think you have a truly global competition. If you win China market, your chance of winning global market is real. Because probably it's going to be the most difficult market to crack. And if you do well there, whether you're a US company, a European company, or from any other regions, if you do well in China, most likely you do well some other markets as well. So do your homework. And also China is where the source of disruption are so many. Not like the US technology business model, 2 things you need to worry about, regulatory side, of course. But in China, even high-speed train systems, such a source of disruption for China. So we have a 2030 disruption, even more to worry about. So your radar, your typical radar, it sometimes is not as sophisticated, sufficient enough to cover all the sorts of disruptions, in terms of disruption for the platform, environment you're working in. So those areas you have to watch out. I'm very positive. If past 30-some years, I think China used a combination of neoliberalism and state capitalism to generate economic growth in China. For the future, China will have a strong element socialism because nobody can buck the trend. So if you want to do business in China, taking that into consideration for your strategy to be truly sustainable, to be welcomed by the societies and the Chinese government and the consumers.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Thank Professor Xiang. See you in Malaysia. Before I begin, actually, I want to remind everyone to do your annual medical checkup. This is very important. Whatever economy, medical checkup is still necessary. Look at the newspaper. Anyway. The topic is on this China's smart economy and very much on the digitalization process or development of the China market and how China affects the rest of the world, Asia, and hopefully specifically, if we have time, we talk about Hong Kong. Now, I would like to ask Albert to share with us his perspectives. Sorry. I'm still jet lagging. Anyway, from your perspectives, where does Hong Kong or where does the Science and Technology Park stand on this direction or this initiative? What are the opportunities and what are the challenges for business in Hong Kong? Albert.
Okay. I've been on this job for 5 weeks, and I've been living in China for more than 20 years. I actually worked for GE for a number of years. So I know quite a bit about China. I've done a lot of things in China. Hong Kong, in terms of smart economy, technology development, I think Hong Kong plays a pivotal role. We have a very good ecosystem. We're at the backyard of the biggest market in the world. In the Hong Kong Science Park, we're promoting a number of technologies like smart cities and healthy aging. I think we play a very important role in helping the economy of China. But at the same time, I think before going into China, let me express my personal view about why Hong Kong has to play in technology. I'm saying that we need to do technology innovation in Hong Kong, not because we can do it, because we have to do it. I think the economy of Hong Kong is, I think, be honest with ourselves, is not doing very well. The whole Hong Kong needs a little bit of a makeover, and I think technology is one of the keys to move us to the next step. So what we do, let me do a little bit of advertisement. Hong Kong Science Park has been here for 15 years. We have about 600 companies in the park, about 13,000 people working in the park. They are all doing R&D. And of the 600 companies, we have about 250 startups. We run incubation programs. And we run these technology in the areas of electronic, biotech, material, green tech, and ICT. It is very interesting that there are a lot of interesting technology coming out of the science park, and in terms of like sensors, biotech. I think Hong Kong is at a stage where we really need to drive innovation and technology. I think it is, I'm saying it probably a little bit too heavy, but it is survival. I think we have to do it. Okay.
Thank you, Albert. But I want to challenge you a little bit. Hong Kong, as you just said, has a role, but we haven't seen too much of really those sort of world-class achievements in terms of innovation or technology breakthrough coming out from Hong Kong or Hong Kong companies. So what is your take on that?
I think you'll be surprised. There are 600 companies there. In the past 6 months, I've spent a lot of time visiting the companies. First of all, I think the Science Park has a pretty good name in Science Park and Cyberport, has a pretty good reputation in Hong Kong in the past 2-3 years. But I don't think we have done enough promoting the companies in the park. I think there are some companies in the park that are pretty cool. And I would encourage you as investor or strategic partner to go visit, and I can set up for you. We have some reasonably successful companies that have obtained some investment from different investors. We haven't got any unicorns or really billion-dollar companies yet, but just you wait. We're working on them.
Another follow-up question. It is 10 years ago, I met the founder or one of the founders of the Hsinchu Science Park of Taipei. And then the Hsinchu Science Park was already in business for 20 years. And I asked the gentleman a question. I said, sir, if you were to redesign the Hsinchu Science Park in Taipei, how would you like to do it? He answered me very quickly. He said, I would simply expand the size and the scale of the entire park by at least 10 times. That was Hsinchu Science Park in Taipei. Now, coming back to Hong Kong, the Science and Technology Park, supposedly carrying some sort of similar positioning, not exactly, but along the same direction, correct? So how is your vision from the government standpoint to at least level up with counterparts in Asia?
First of all, we're not government, although we are funded by government. So I'm not a government, I'm not a civil servant, gladly. If you ask me that question about what do I do redesigning Science Park, I would not double the size, but I will build a virtual science park using technology, building data platform, because this is the future. I think a lot of people here will understand what I'm saying. Data, virtual science park will be the future, and this is actually what we're doing. Real estate in Hong Kong is tough to find. We will expand the physical space, but I'm not going to go crazy on that. But the virtual science park, the combination of the whole ecosystem around Hong Kong with the Pearl River Delta, I think that's the thing that we need to do, because we cannot do it on our own. Hong Kong is only so big, physical space, but the virtual part and the collaboration part is so much we can do.
So this is the right topic, smart economy.
and data is a huge part of the smart economy.
Thank you, Albert. Let's move on to our second speaker, Mr. Frankie Ho from Baidu. Frankie, before you speak, I was at the Baidu World Conference in Beijing about 10 days ago. It was really, really eye-opening and educating to see so many, I would say, world-class entrepreneurs, Chinese entrepreneurs, making use of technology, making use of artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, and all the likes, to try to achieve the respective business developments in different sectors, including people like, things like smart living, smart payment, smart tourism, and of course, smart searching engine. So, Frankie, update us. Where does Baidu or Baidu Hong Kong stand in terms of these initiatives, and how would you advise our friends here to take advantage of this upcoming smart economy revolution, if you like?
I try my best to answer the questions, although I'm not the head of research for Baidu. I think apart from Baidu, all the leading online players in China, they keep on, developing new products. We understand with the growing economy, the citizen and our customers become more and more demanding. They may ask for more convenience. They may ask for quicker turnaround time. They may ask for a higher standard of living. So we try to make use what we learn from the data, from the behavior of our audience, and try to think of anything can improve our way or style of living. I think that's why we have Baidu World. Baidu World is an event annually. We try to share the latest progress of our technology innovations. But I think back to a very basic life, I think eBusiness, the greatest benefit is about the data. I think when our former speaker, we always say that, China will keep on growing, we still have much room for growing GDP, whereas we also have chance to build our virtual society with more popular, like cloud computing, and more easier for us to retrieve technology. There always much room of improvement. And at the point, I want to add on behalf of the e-business players, maybe in Hong Kong, to be honest, I have to admit, doing e-business
it's not so easy as in China. I'm not saying China it's very easy for you to make success. Rather, I'm more focusing about the size of the market. Like me, before I joined the company, I was the head of sales for Yahoo Hong Kong. At that moment, when we talk about like new product, we always need to do the business model. We have to think about how big is the market. So sometimes in Hong Kong, you will find only the industry leader of every industry can survive because of the limitation of the market size. But in China, I think Professor Bin has talked about like eBusiness players, not only BAT, but also have like Jingdong and also, so other even second tier or third tier players, they can still make a living because even they only occupy like 2% share, it's already very huge business. So I think there is a trend for moving our so-called big data into mobile and everywhere. So I think if we ask me about like technology, I think now we are not just talking about like digitalizations, but even how to move what we have into the mobile landscape. Very simple, I think, like even Hong Kong is. Once we get back to home, we need not turn on our desktop. We use tablet, we use a mobile phone. Even like me, I always fly to Beijing, like the Baidu World, like every week. So I think most of the time when I work with internet, I always use my mobile phone. And to be honest now, in China, you can forget to bring along your wallet, but you need to bring along your phone. You can use the phone to call Didi or Uber, and you can pay it with the Tencent, although it's not like a Baidu payment solution, but that's something what you have. So I think hopefully more or less I can tell the difference about the landscape. Another terminology I want to bring it, it's not like just digitalizations, but also localizations. As I mentioned, like in Hong Kong, we use Google, but in China, you need to have Baidu. We talk about Google Map, how to find this venue, but in Beijing, I have no way but to use Baidu Map. Like the payment, we have various payment solutions, but in China, in order to expand your business, you need to have Alipay, Tencent payment, and coming Baidu payment. So that's something we can't be overlooked when we wanted to do something in China. Yeah.
Frankie, I want to ask a follow-up question quickly. Baidu International, as you guys based in Hong Kong, who are your major customers in Hong Kong?
Okay, I'm looking after the sales function of China Search in Baidu International Advertising Unit. So I think our major advertisers are those advertisers who wanted to do something or promoting their business or product and service in China. Like I think in terms of industry, financial industry, as well as even like some of the Hong Kong enterprise like retail, even for those, I want to attract China tourists coming to Hong Kong when they were doing shopping. You can use the location-based service. You can also identify the IP, or even when you are doing like online advertising, you can choose a city or provinces you want to do. So it's quite like a platform. You can choose what you want. But I would say, search engine, usually is more popular among those ROI-driven businessmen.
Good. Frankie, this leads to another very interesting question. Since you're targeting Hong Kong companies or multinational companies based in Hong Kong, correct? And those who want to develop their business in China, right? But I just don't... please share with us. So under which sort of a legal system or legal contracts that you sign agreements with these companies? Hong Kong is still one country, two systems. I give you one more incident. Last month or 2 months ago, Baidu developed this whole saga of this 未知生事件, 对吧? I don't know how to translate in English. I'm sorry. Self-therapy, yes. And then incidentally, the subject student died because of he did this search on Baidu and found some advice and eventually went to see that clinic and pay some money, and then he died in 2 weeks. So the whole country sort of accusing Baidu for that, right? So where's your take on this?
Sounds like very challenging questions. Why not put it in this way? Because of that incident, I would say even the China government already issued the latest sharing about the advertising laws. As I keep on reminding, we need to be localized. Just to give you an example, in Hong Kong, like when I was the head of Yahoo, when some advertiser wanted to promote their products on our platform, we are feeling very comfortable because I don't care what you promote. If you really reveal a very sensitive message under the Hong Kong legal system, there will be a dispute between the advertiser against those who raise the suitcase. So that means the platform itself very independent, or to a certain extent, this scam is liability. But in China, it's another story. Like BAT, even you got money, you want to advertise, you need to go for a censorship, which take the first time like 4 to 6 weeks. You know the reason behind? Because what message you find in this platform, if there is any dispute, the platform itself is clearly to be defined as legally liable. So if you ask me, I think it's a good lesson for all the online advertising platform to learn about it. And also, I think with that incident, it now become more keenly defined. Bad thing is, if you never advertise in any online China platform, the coming censorship process will be more lengthy or more cautious. We'll take a more cautious approach. So you ask me, I don't have any position, but I think all of us, or even the online marketers, pay for a lesson.
Frankie, we need to talk. Okay. Thank you. Joseph, why don't you share with us, just perhaps explain very briefly, what does AsiaPay do and your perspectives, and how AsiaPay is taking advantage of this smart economy development in China, and how you're going to protect eventually everybody's privacy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. AsiaPay was a homegrown, born in Hong Kong as a payment service and technology player. And for those who fancy online shoppings in Hong Kong, I think you come across quite a lot of us along the processing under the brand of PayDollar. We have been, since year 2000, we have been expanding our offering, our service processing into Asia. So now we are the only payment service and technology player who have now covered 11 countries in Asia. So we have been capitalizing of the growth of the China payments, and ever since that, I think the guest speaker also talked about. Now it seems that the China economy and the China the government and also all the commercial players have leapfrogged to the new horizon. When we talk about payment space, we talk about from cash society to cashless, which is more like a plastic and card society. And now, when we talk about card and plastic society, it will be cardless society. But imagine now Alipay and all the players, WeChat Pay, they don't need cash. They don't worry about the plastic in the wallet at all. They use the mobile phone to tap and pay. Even you don't have to have the wallet, plastic in your wallet. You can take a taxi ride. You can go to a dinner date. Paying for restaurants and all this. And as a payment provider, we are working with all these payment brands very closely to help them to and facilitate some of the merchants in Hong Kong and Asia to take this as the acceptance mark on the online presence and of the retail presence. In the market in Asia, there's a retail brands in Hong Kong like cosmetic brand chain store, hotel chain store, and also F&B chain stores. And they would like to accept not just in all this just CUP cards, but also Alipay wallet and the WeChat Pay wallet. Along that developments, apart from helping Asian merchants, hotel, airlines to provide more payment convenience to customer China travelers and retailers. And on the other side, we also try to bring the China merchants with more advanced technologies for the exports or e-commerce in the market. In all this, when the China e-commerce take off, largely they will embark on like AliExpress, the Taobao for domestic commerce.
When it comes to cross-border, they will embark on marketplace like DHgate now or many others platforms. And now, in the old days, the China commerce largely focus on manufacturing, OEM products. And now, because of this whole economy change, now they are under pressure to try to build their own brands, to try to sell direct in the marketplace. So a lot of these, they are now in a traditional way to handle payment processing from just debit card payments on COP or net banking. They now have to better understand the acceptance of credit card, fraud monitoring, and to others to understand the buying behavior of the consumers outside China. So these are the major areas that AsiaPay has been working along with the different leading players in the market.
So Joseph, how would this smart payment services or smart financial services at a higher level benefit business in general?
Oh, definitely. When we talk about digitization of payments, when we talk about that all the payment processing interface will be seamless, as we talk about payments, people talk about frictionless payment. You have seen a lot of successful cases of track record of enabling wallet payments like Apple Pay into Asia, with in Hong Kong. People are consumers are enjoying some frictionless payments using their phones and biometrics. Along the developments, when you see that there are more and more benefits of digitized payment to have more values, to be more smart. In the old days, when you buy things online, you just have to swipe your credit card or using a debit from your bank account. As you can see nowadays, when you do online shopping, not only you can pay by your cards, and you can use your bonus point of the card for online purchases. As you can see some early release, there are also some platforms who can offer online real-time installment. Even though you don't have money in your bank account, don't have limit in your credit card, you can apply immediate online personal loan for your honeymoon, for your new home renovations. All this will come to realities. And by all means that your payment is now getting to the stage that it's not just a standalone transaction processing service alone. When we talk about ends, your finance and others, it makes the whole your financial experience as one single basket. Not only you can use the Alipay wallet or other wallet to make a transaction, you can look up histories, and also you can use that tools on the platform for wealth management also too. And then I can see that the fintech doesn't limit to payments only. You can see a lot of very prospering developments on P2P lending also in China. It's taking off so fast, and now even in Hong Kong too. Thanks.
I think actually this is a good thing, but as an individual, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I'm really, really scary about this privacy issue. Yeah, you guys has got so much of my information. Where did I go? What did I buy? Whatever. How are you guys going to protect our privacy?
Interesting. It's a big dilemma. While a lot of the digital marketing professions, they try to sell you digital service. Okay, I have this targeted profile. I can profile you the demographics, ladies, inch of education background, this spending pattern. You can see a lot of marketers in the market who do that. Definitely. They are when we talk about payment, it came from a few generation, few stages, from the infrastructures to applications now to the data level. So now there are more and more available of data, even from a payment platform perspective. Not only we can see your credit card payment data, but also see your way to transact, whether using a mobile phones or what OS, your PC settings, your mobile phone settings. All this can be available on the payment gateway. And for retailers, it would be good because I know what kind of channel that my consumers will make the transactions. In the old days, it would be just retail, online. But I know, you are using an iPhone. You're using an iPad to do that. We are glad that the Hong Kong government has made a lot of good effort on data privacy protection. This is also one of the key. When we talk about your digitalizations, there are more inflow or influx of data collections along the process, no matter what. How each of the market stakeholder have the integral professional standard to safeguard all this data to ensure the privacy by all means. We work closely with the card scheme and banks, so there are some standard guidance from card scheme, from monetary authorities, and also the local governments on how we preserve the data privacy and we will do our professional practice to best protect the interests.
Thank you, Frankie. But let me share with you. I live in China, and every day I get so many calls on my mobile phone with country codes coming from Saudi Arabia, Africa, whatever countries that I have no idea. I never know any friend there. So I don't know how they got hold of my mobile phone number. I guess one way or another it has to come. They may came through my e-payment services experience. So we need to talk.
One more point to add. I think the card scheme on your Visa and MasterCard brand have enforced an international standard called PCI. This is the payment card industry data security standard. He have a very stringent procedures, practice and guidance. And for those major players, they have to go through an independent data, kind of a security audit across the whole system applications to ensure that the one who are operating the platform or provision of this service comply to necessary standard, such that all this personal data, even the card data, will not be disclosed and leaked out to the market. Yep. You are sure that customers will enjoy the peace of mind.
Can I ask a question? Would you think blockchain will solve that problem in terms of security, payment, or next generation of payment? I'm asking that because there's a lot of talk about that, but the Hong Kong government isn't doing much about that.
Right. As a payment provider, we are still learning every day what kind of implication of blockchain to payment space, and also Visa and MasterCard definitely is looking into this kind of perspective. So we are yet to see, whenever there's a new technologies or platform processing technologies come to life, I think that to some extent there are also some gatekeeper who want to enforce some best practices. For example, in the old days, when you go to online purchases, there's no such thing as like verified by Visa, MasterCard secure code for extra OTP authentication when you shop online. But because of this, e-commerce, e-payments come to life, there's another layer of security measures or control measures that the market will adopt and then enforce eventually.
Albert, to share with you my perspective, actually, this is a true story. In China, one of my friends, a lady friend, and she did some plastic surgery, okay, on her face. No detail. Anyway, she lives in a very modernized apartment, and with all this kind of something called smart door lock, okay. And one of somehow the day after this operation from abroad, when she went home, she couldn't get access because the smart door locking system doesn't recognize your face anymore. So you better be careful. Peter, let's talk about the subject from your perspective, from the UK perspective, from your business perspective. Peter.
Well, first of all, thanks for putting me on last, because now my time is like 4 o'clock in the morning rather than 3 o'clock, so I might be a little bit more awake. Interesting that the topic here was the phrase smart economy. Unfortunately, that's been used to mean different things in different countries. From my experience, it's not a new idea, and nor is it a single one-off concept with a limited future. It's just going to develop as it has in the past and as it will do in the future. The technology and e-business environment has evolved on a continuous basis for many, many years. Now, I've been involved with that for around 40 of those years, I'm afraid, but it's certainly moving and it's continuing to move. Going back, the American company, General Electric Information Services, refer to the real creation of what they call the global village. That was back in the 80s. That's when they developed worldwide transaction processing, storage and communication systems very successfully. My first visit to Hong Kong was back in the early 1980s when I was working for General Electric and selling concepts and products to international banks, implementing online systems linking a bank's foreign exchange, money market, dealing rooms in real time, 24/7, by 365, checking every single deal against a centralized control system with a virtually instantaneous response back in those days. That gave head office instant online control, prevented the collapse of banks with rogue traders, And for those of you aware of the issue with bearings in 1995, sorry, Joseph, on that one, bearings were not my client then. Also, many today talk about a massive new environment. They talk about the cloud. And a lot of people in this room will think that's a brand new environment. It's actually just a rehash of GE's success, but I'd probably argue that it's with less uptime and less security that was involved back at GE days. But over the years, internet-based sales, marketing, payment systems and social interaction products have now become delivered through what we would call an omni-channel approach that you were mentioning earlier. Yes, some of those people are on PCs, but exactly as you said, that's going away over time. In fact, in Africa, standard PCs, desktop PCs, virtually aren't there. So everyone is using products through tablets and phones and effectively creating what I would call an anytime, any place, anywhere solution about what to do. What's happening worldwide is this is actually in the process of increasing jobs in technology. But what it's also doing is reducing jobs by closing shops in the high street, closing a number of bank branches because most of the clients now do things online rather than actually walking into a bank branch. It's closing travel company offices because people will do their purchases online. It will create some other jobs, though, because with all these purchases being made online rather than walking into a shop, there's some extra jobs created for delivery drivers who are taking those products to your house. But going back on something that was raised earlier as well, these developments in online technology, they require governments and companies to increase various controls on what is happening. Cybercrime is very high. It's not just hacking from the outside. A lot of the problems are actually internal criminal activity within companies. This has to be found and got rid of. Customer data protection is vital. Alexander, you were raising that point just a little bit earlier. Exactly right. Protecting people's data as clients is absolutely fundamental. Companies and countries have to prevent anti-money laundering, but also in today's world, they have to make sure that they combat the financing of terrorism as well. Whilst all that is taking place, we look at how companies are set up and where they're set up. And a number of those in the past have been taking the approach of trying to avoid tax with something that the OECD have called base erosion and profit shifting. This has to be taken care of. Companies need to be forced to create permanent establishment of senior staff where their headquarters are really based, not supposedly based. That has to be done very, very carefully. But all of the smart changes that people have been talking about, they're not completed, nor will they ever be. Are they reshaping economies? Absolutely, just as they've done since at least the 1970s. But now it's at a much faster pace, a pace that's accelerating all the time. And some of the things that you guys are doing now is really much faster than it's happened before. But in fact, that's going to go even further. I'm currently working with an innovator now on another generation of products over and above what you've heard about today and what you've heard about in the market. These products are with a company called Creative 3D, who are just about to launch products and an entry point for clients into other companies' products using 3D, virtual reality, and avatar technology. And what that's about to deliver is amazing social interaction, marketing and sales, obviously, but also education, gaming, and developments in healthcare and entertainment in a way that younger users now are actually demanding. That's where they want things to move. So will this be the end of internet development? Of course not. But it will create many new companies and many new jobs replacing today's technology. Absolutely, that's what's going to happen. Today's technology, though, will soon be said to be old and outdated as we have to move forward. But overall, what's happening is this will reduce cost and it will reduce risk whilst increasing the user's experience.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you. And now we have about 15 minutes left. I want to open the floor I want to focus, or I suggest that we focus a little bit on the ground, Hong Kong issues. So, ladies and gentlemen, any questions that you would like to ask any of the panelists on this topic? Thank you. There's a hand at the back. Please, is there a microphone there? Right there, at the back. I'm sorry, I'll get you later. Thank you. Please go ahead. Please identify yourself. Yes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sumant Lazarus, and I'm from City University of Hong Kong. I would like to ask the question to Mr. Joseph Chan from AsiaPay. And my question is, with all these companies providing, contactless, cashless payment of services and products like, Tencent, Alibaba, I'm wondering if there's like a point in time in the near future where there is a saturation of such services and there be of a unison, like a combining of these contactless payment services so that everybody just uses one. And will there be a saturation of sorts in this market? Thank you.
Thank you so much. To our kind of experience that while this kind of payment development has been in China for a few years. Now I think that everybody have read the news about the Hong Kong government has released the SVF license. So there are 5 players will be granted the license, and I think you can see that 2 of them is from China, the Alipay and also WeChat Pay. I think that this market will continue to bring different user experience and applications to the consumer at large. At some point in time, you're totally right that at some point in time we see that there are payment brands products who at some point in time they fail to maintain the competitiveness and leave the market. You can see that in the old days, we call 10, 20 years ago, some other card brands like Diners has also taken off one of the prestige brand. But you can see that there are less and less customers adopting these payment options. We can see some earlier kind of trends like kind of the NFC or kind of a story like Visa Cash Mondex, but now it's not here anymore. In the Hong Kong market, like around about 7 million people, we have 5 SVF license. Okay, it's yet to see who are really bring the best user experience, best values for the consumer. We definitely will anticipate in some point in time if that the market cannot support 5 brands, there will be some consolidations eventually. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Further questions? I saw a hand. No. If not, maybe I can ask the panelists to share for the last round your personal sort of a summary on the topic about this smart economy in China, in Hong Kong, in Asia. Whatever you want to share with the audience for them to take away. Albert?
Okay. I'll start first. Actually, when I was asked to talk about smart economy, I actually searched the web and look for the word smart economy. I couldn't find a good one. So I just define it as technology driving the economy in the future. And I think the technology, there are many things. I would look at technology in terms of computing power and connectivity. Either one of them would not make a big difference, but the two connected creates a lot of data. And data creates information. Information creates intelligence. So it is this chain from connectivity, computing power, to data, to information, to intelligence. We're not quite in intelligence yet. But if we get to intelligence, then the world will be very different in terms of payment, consumption. I once heard someone was saying the future economy is about population of 1 and the choice of infinity. Everyone has his own choice. They want to buy his own thing. Instead of Henry Ford saying you can have any color you like as long as it's black. Today, every phone is different. I want my own thing. The other thing I'm looking at is that the explosion of information, of data. I can throw you some information, some data. For example, today in the world, we're talking about somewhere around hundreds of billions of sensors, depending on which report you look at. But in the next 10 years, it's going to be trillions of sensors. Because sensor technology is going to be so cheap and energy harvesting is so easy to do. You can just plug a sensor anywhere in the world. So in the next 10, 20 years, you will have, on average, 500 to 1,000 sensors around you. And these sensors, smart sensors, they communicate with each other. This is the IoT things we're talking about. So the information data explosion will be even bigger in the next 10, 20 years. And then you think about the genomics. 10, 20 years ago, it takes 2 weeks to analyze the DNA of a human being. Today, you go to Science Park, it takes 1 evening, 5 hours to analyze whole DNA. That's another huge data explosion. But how do you make sense out of these? You can turn the sensors into more comfort or more monitoring, less security, and you can do personalized medicine. I think this is the kind of economy through technology we're looking at. So how do we prepare for ourselves for this explosion of data? How do you turn it into information, turn it into intelligence? That's the kind of things that everybody has to look at. We're not quite there yet. We're not even close to getting there yet. The amount of data we're seeing today is only very, very small. The amount of data that we can analyze and make intelligence out of it. We're talking about things like deep learning. In the science park, we have companies who do deep learning. There are technology that enable computers to write poem. All right. So imagine the world in the next 20 years. I can talk about this for another half an hour, but I'll leave it for you to think about it.
Before Frankie speaks, again, I still want to get your take on this comparison, regional comparison. And I see His Excellency, the Consul General of Singapore, Mr. Fu, is here. Singapore, Korea, and the likes are so advanced in terms of wiring the whole country, the whole region, and reflected in the actual GDP development. So again, the question, I know you are not a government official, you are not CY Leung yet, but I mean, so what are you going to do?
I think
way behind Singapore. I'm sorry.
This is good comparison. Singapore, Korea. I can just throw you one information.
Even Malaysia, we are behind Malaysia. I'm sorry.
That's okay. The spending on R&D as a percentage of GDP in Hong Kong is 0.78%, less than 0.8%, less than 1%. R&D spending as a percent of GDP in Korea is 4%. Singapore is 2.4, I think 2.4, 2.6. Israel is 4.6, 4.7. China is 2.5. So think about it. If China is 2.5, across the board in Shenzhen, it's like 5.10, 5-6%. So you can see the comparison. This is fundamental. All right. So we need to get our acts together in Hong Kong to change that. If we can somehow raise the awareness in Hong Kong and get that going, I'm not here to flip the switch and say we're there next week, tomorrow, but it's a long journey. But this data tell you everything. Basically, less than 1%.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Frankie, very quickly.
I think I try to echo, to show how competitive that Hong Kong and Hong Kongers are. As I just answered the questions like an hour ago, who are our advertisers on Baidu? Surprisingly, you may find, there are still a number of MNC, they choose to use Hong Kong as a hub instead of going directly, all the way from Europe or from Mecca, into the market. Because we still have some edge. Although it is less easy to generate critical mass for e-business players in Hong Kong, we still have some good grounds or positive grounds to let people to choose. First of all, we have a relative low tax rate. Like taxation, if you're doing huge business, you find it's make you feel get a headache, how to avoid the high withholding tax in China. And also when you are talking about business, you wanted to enhance the free flow of cash in and out. Hong Kong is a market that you can easily do it, right? And also we have good financial structure, not just about like banking, bank out. Even like we have worldwide quality of service like hospitality or even the transport service. So we still have some edge, and we should not be overlook ourselves. Let's keep working. I think our hardworking character also enable to make something happen in the Hong Kong.
You're really speaking like Invest Hong Kong people. Thank you.
Yeah, I just met them last week.
Thank you. Joseph, 1 minute summary. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that Hong Kong have a lot of things to offer to
in this smart economy developments, not for just as a bridge for China, but also in Southeast Asia. Because as total echo all the guest speakers said that Hong Kong has a very solid, robust telco infrastructures to enable a lot of digitization initiatives, very robust financial systems, and also one of the gateway or window to open up renminbi processing and settlements outside China. So a lot of e-commerce cross-border trades, in fact, the infrastructure, if it's there, it help and fuel a lot of growth and development support, especially across cross-border settlements. I think that some ticks that for us as a payment provider to see in the near future, no matter it's Apple Pay or Orange Pay or Banana Pay in the future, I anticipate there are lots of new innovations no matter what, in terms of new payment innovations and product. There are a couple of ticks for enabling merchants. What was the objective for merchants to enhance sales, user experience, services? It has been there for more than a decade, no matter how digitization goes. A couple of things to take. Omnichannel is the one. CRM is the one. Imagine today when you go to shop online or using mobile apps to shop, perhaps the retailer, the cashier in the retail shop, we don't know that you spend the money overnight on the web stores. And the retailers, they still not have a consolidated infrastructures to see a customer as one single person. So with that in place, the big data will come. You can see that the one who go into the store with the one who spend overnight in the buying things on the app and on the web. And also a person, I'm quite a bit a fan of VR, AR. Okay, in the old days when you talk about purchases, you look at your kind of a flat screen, your QR code, or kind of your print, kind of your digital image to first buy things. And all new technologies that now, while you can watching a movie, you can watch a video screen. There are some text on the objects. You can simply kind of click the objects on that VR on this kind of a movie clip, and you can make the purchase and then buy. And then more and more of these experiments coming to life in the market, and we can't wait to see how this will change the user experience and when they do shopping, the experience. Thanks.
Thank you, Joseph. Peter.
Right, certainly that area there, if you take that into 3D and virtual reality, that's exactly where people really want to buy. The world really is a global village. It started a long time ago. It's definitely there today, and Hong Kong is an integral part of that village. I wanted to just touch on one of the points that Albert was questioning earlier on about the blockchain and digital currency. I'm not a government official, but 2 or 3 years ago, I worked consulting with the government in the Isle of Man about what to do in these sort of areas. Got legislation changed in this concept, putting controls in there, and I'm very certain that the world will develop into that market very, very soon. It's happening across the world. It needs to be done under controls. Banks have to step back, with all due respect to any banks here, and most of them are actually taking part in tests and trials behind the scene on digital currency and blockchain. This will happen, and I think that will be a great movement forward.
Thank you, Peter. I have maybe 1 minute to do a wrap-up. This is still early days, I think, as far as the smart economy is concerned. Earlier on, Professor Xiang shared with us his optimism about China's economic development and reasons behind that. And at the panel, our distinguished panelists shared their respective insights on the topic. Albert, Frankie, and Joseph, and Peter, thank you so much. My last sort of suggestion for you guys to take away is that smart economy has no borders, as you said. We all live in this global village. And particularly in Asia, Hong Kong plays a pivotal role, not only for Hong Kong people, but also for the benefit of the region. Here, we are definitely not alone. We have friends in Singapore, Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, and don't forget we have friends from India. Very, very high achievements in terms of technology, digitization, development, and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank once again the Asia Society for hosting this, giving us this venue on such a beautiful day. And mind you, actually, Mr. Wang Chen is our honorary chairman of a leadership roundtable. He inaugurated our roundtable 6 years ago. So we do have a relationship back. Once again, please join us and putting your hands together to thank all the distinguished panelists. And I'd like to invite Alice to come on stage to present some souvenirs for you guys to take a read. Take home and read. It's just our books, you know. We have no money. I'm sorry. Please, Alice.
We have 2 sets of wonderful gifts for you.
Wow.
Heritage site, history of a heritage site, and these are from. It's very hard to do. Thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you for your wonderful insights. Thank you so much. This one is the history.
You see the difference in terms of resources, you know? Okay. Okay, Alice, please come. We take a last photo. Okay, come.